All right, so we have to subtract, and then we are going to list any x values for which x is undefined. So if you are adding or subtracting, that's when you need a common denominator, okay? Not when you're multiplying. We're going to factor here. Factoring is something that you're going to want to practice. And you do have that in your practice problems, okay? But factoring with like different coefficients other than 1, making sure you know how to check. X times x is x squared. Negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. A negative times a positive is going to be negative 18. So when you're getting your LCD, if the denominator here is x minus 6 times x plus 3, that's what we have to have here as well. So all I have is the x minus 6. That means I have to multiply the top and the bottom by x plus 3. There shouldn't be any canceling out going on here. The whole reason while you're multiplying is to get your LCD. Okay, so then we have 3x squared minus 1, and then it's going to be minus, and I'm going to put this whole quantity in parentheses. So what we're going to do is we are going to FOIL the two binomials. X times x is going to be x squared. 2x plus 3x is going to be 5x. 2 times 3 is going to be 6. And then your denominator stays the same. So x minus 6 times x plus 3. Alright, now I'm going to distribute that negative. When you distribute the negative, you can change this to a plus, and then you can make it negative x squared, negative 5x, negative 6, and combine your like terms. So I have 3x squared minus x squared. So now I have 2x squared. I have negative 5x, there's no common terms there. Negative 1 minus 6 is negative 7. And that's all over x minus 6 times x plus 3. Right? Now you want to see if the numerator factors. Yep, 7 is a prime number, so you really only have two choices, right? It's either 1 and 7 or 7 and 1. So we're going to start with 2x and x. So we have 1 and 7 or 7 and 1. If it's negative, so what do we know about the signs? One of them has to be negative. Did you guys find something that worked?
2x.
Okay, so if you have 2x minus 7, x plus 1, when you check this, you get negative 7x here, you get 2x here, which is negative 5x. Yep. So if it factors, sometimes you might have a common factor that you can cancel out. This is the only step where you would cancel out if you had anything in common. We don't. So this is going to be our final answer. Now, even if you do have something in common, when you're deciding what values for x are not going to work, okay, that's going to be related to the LCD. So if you have x minus 6, x plus 3, we know that we can't have this quantity, x minus 6 equals 0. We can't have the quantity x plus 3 equals 0. So x won't be able to be 6, or x cannot be negative 3. Okay, so this is where x cannot equal 6 and negative 3. Okay, and the reason why I like to just put it up at the LCD step is even if they were to cancel out at the end, you have to take both of those into consideration. All right, and then number 2, you might have to adjust that one. Okay, so for number 2, again, you want to start with your factoring. So you had x plus 6 over x minus 9 minus 2x plus 19 over x squared minus 7x minus 18. So that's going to factor into x plus 2, x minus 9. Okay, so here I can see I have x minus 9, so I'm going to have to multiply the top and the bottom of that by x plus 2. Okay, you do need to write out your proper steps. So you are multiplying by x plus 2 over itself, not just x plus 2. Why is that mathematically incorrect to just say you're multiplying that by x plus 2? Then you are changing the value, right? You're allowed to do this because x plus 2 over itself is equal to 1. And 1 times anything is going to be itself. Now, even though we're multiplying on this side, that doesn't mean we don't have to think about this minus here, okay? Because the minus is applied to everything behind it. All right, so then when we FOIL on the top, we get x squared. 2x plus 6x is going to be 8x. 6 times 2 is going to be 12. This is minus 2x minus 19. Okay, so be careful. And now that's all over. X plus 2 times x minus 9. And we're going to combine our like terms. Okay, so x squared is the only one of that type. 8x minus 2x is going to be 6x. And then 12 minus 19 is going to be negative 7. And then again, we're going to factor that if we can. Can we factor this? Are there two values that multiply to negative 7 that add to positive 6? Well, for negative 7, it's 7 and 1, right? One of them has to be negative, so 7x minus 1 is going to be 6. Again, in this case, they don't cancel out. So you're going to leave your answer like this in factored form. And then find the values for which x cannot be. Okay, so if x was negative 2, that would make the denominator 0. If x was 9, that would make the denominator 0. Okay. All right, and then just gonna write here that you factored. If you did have common factors, you could cancel those out. All right, and then the last one, we are solving for s. Whenever you are solving, you do the reverse order of operations, okay? So when you think of order of operations, multiplication and division come before addition and subtraction. But when you're solving, you're looking for that addition and subtraction first. Now, notice that this minus 3 is on the outside of the radical, not on the inside. Okay, if it was on the inside, we would do the fourth power to both sides first. Because this is on the outside, you have to isolate the radical first. Okay, so your first step should be to add 3 to both sides. If you did do the fourth power first, okay, you can't distribute it here because it's going to be a binomial. It's 2 terms. So we have v plus 3 equals the fourth root of s over 1.5. Okay, well, now I do have the root isolated. So I can raise both sides to the fourth power. And when you're doing this, you can leave it like this. You don't have to FOIL that out. If you did, that's okay too, but you can leave it like this. Okay, and then your last step would be to do what? Multiply by 1.5. So you're going to multiply by the denominator to get rid of that fraction. I'm just going to write it in this step. Okay, so then if you multiply both sides by 1.5, those are going to cancel. Okay, and your final answer would be 1.5 v plus 3 to the 4th power is equal to s, and you can leave it just like that. Now if you did multiply that out, that's fine too. Okay, you're going to have to FOIL twice, then distribute, and then your last step would be to distribute the 1.5 to all of them. Okay, but you can leave this one in that form.